Okay, next is Shooter Hunting Beast, book number 1, written by Austin Andrews. It is 272 pages. It is $2.99. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. And here's the author's description. James's day has finally come to slay the Reaper's beast, climb up the ranks, and clean his father's name. After 3 years in the Hunter's Academy, he's finally ready to join his brothers in arms and prove that his father's suspicions about corruption within the organization were wrong once and for all. On his very first day, he ends up being forced to go out on a hunt with two people who he's never met before, the shy fire controller Tommy and the dark metal whip cracking Goth Kendra. When they confront the Reaper's creature, they make a shocking discovery, one that can jeopardize the whole world and undermine their loyalty to the Hunters. There are beasts out of the ordinary, and their organization, the Hunters, might be involved. It's a race against the clock to beat the bloodthirsty beasts, and all the while the relationship between the three of them is getting more and more complicated. A clash of personalities is imminent, and new members join the group, and colleagues might become enemies. But James can't lose focus on the fate of the world. With everything hanging in the balance, can James and his team slay the beast and stay one step ahead of both the Reapers and the Hunters? Okay, there it is. Short version of this. This is a boring story. For me, at least. The story felt like it was inspired by Monster Hunter, which is not a bad system to kind of be inspired by. I actually enjoy the Monster Hunter games. Only this is set in a modern world. However, the author doesn't really do much with game mechanics. The game mechanics are limited to you get experience points and you level. That's it. Everything else in the story feels very much fantasy like magical fantasy sci-fi in the modern world. As far as like power progression, everything. The storyline itself that brought the new monster hunters and this secret battle against a new type of monster was absolutely forced, as is most of the lot. And I think the biggest issue there for me was definitely the awkwardness of the writing itself. And that usually doesn't bother me. But in this case, it wasn't like that. There's a lot of technical issues here. There are occasional, but it was really along the lines of how everything is phrased. It just felt very awkward. And, I don't know, it just didn't feel correct in my brain around me. It felt like it was like it should have been written differently. And I'm not criticizing authors' right to write their story whatever they want to. It's just that the way that the sentences were phrased, in my brain, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I can't put my finger on why. And so that's what happened. Essentially, like almost every other paragraph, and so it made it challenging to read the story at all. And then, however, I could kind of overlook those things normally if the story was good, or if the action was good, or if the game mechanics were really cool. And none of that is here, unfortunately. Nothing's really horrible. It's technically liberty because again, there is leveling and there's experience points. But at the same time, that's kind of all there is to it as far as like game mechanics go. So there's nothing really interesting there. The action itself was just kind of like meh. So there wasn't anything. The story itself again felt forced. So I just couldn't really enjoy it. And overall, I was just kind of bored with the story. Gets a score of 5 out of 10 for me. That's Shooter Hunter Beast, book number 1. Just couldn't enjoy the story, and it was boring. So there you go.